All right, Robin, well, you're getting to the end of your school year. I can imagine your kids are acting up a little bit because you've had a couple extra delays due to the winter. You had some extra snow days tacked on. So they're probably all in their best behavior now, aren't they?
Not true. They are feeling their wild oats in preparation for summer vacation.
Yeah, that's, I'm sure, pretty challenging for you right now to keep control of the classroom. So you have mentioned that there's one student in particular that's been acting up in your class, and I had a thought about some techniques we can try with him to see if we can make a difference and make him a little more sociable and productive within the classroom. So tell me a little bit about your student and what he does that you'd like to change.
Well, he is being placed in the back of the room because he has problems working around others without disruption. And now he is focusing on getting my attention because he's so far back in the room. And he walks constantly up to me to ask me something rather than raise his hand and wait for his turn. He's gotten a lot of attention at home that way, and I think that's just feeding through here to get my attention right now. So he walks constantly to see me during lessons, during transition time, all the time.
What's the student's name?
Nathaniel.
Nathaniel, just so we can call him by name here. Okay, so the therapy that we're going to talk about today is under the umbrella of behavioral therapy, and the overlying idea is that all of our behavior is learned through modeling or through positive or negative reinforcement. So I learn how to act a certain way based on how I am taught and observed from the world around me. And so the technique that I think might be beneficial for you and Nathaniel is called Extinction. And with a technique of Extinction, we focus on blocking out the bad behavior and then positively reinforcing the good behavior. So, for example, in this scenario, Nathaniel doesn't like to sit in his chair. He wants to come up to you and get attention all the time. Extinction says that we will not pay attention to Nathaniel when he is doing his bad behavior at any cost, but will heap positive reinforcements like crazy on him when he does the right thing. So as long as he's being disruptive or he's coming up to you in the middle of the lesson, instead of telling him to go sit back down or telling him, to wait his turn or even calling on him or making eye contact with him, you completely ignore him like he's not there. It will be very frustrating for him. He will, and there's another side byproduct of this called the extinction burst, which means that he might even manifest worse behavior in that temporary period because he really wants to get your attention. So you have to be prepared that whatever you do, he might amp it up a little bit just to try to get your attention even more. But the overall idea is that you don't pay any attention to it. You don't look at him, you don't listen to him, you pretend you can't, like he's invisible, until he goes and sits back down in his seat. So the positive behavior that we want Nathaniel ideally to have is what? What would a better reaction or response be from him?
To stay in his seat and raise his hand and wait for his turn, and then come and see me if he needs to talk to me directly or just make his wishes known from his seat.
Does he know this right now? He knows that this is the appropriate behavior for him to be doing? Okay.
Mhm.
So what I'll encourage you to practice with him in the classroom this week is when he has a question, if he comes up to you and does not follow that procedure of raising his hand and waiting until you call on him, you completely ignore him until he goes back to his seat and raises his hand. Now when he does that, I want you to be extremely, extremely positive towards him. Praise him for doing the right thing, for raising his hand, for waiting his turn until you call on him. You want to really stress the positive behavior that you want him to have, but completely ignore the negative one.
I can see that working because Nathaniel thrives on praise and attention. And if I give him lavish amounts, it may just work.
And it's good to give him lavish amounts to encourage the right behavior.
Right.
But when it sounds like when he's coming up and being disruptive, you're giving him attention, which is ideally what he wants.
Right.
But it's not conducive to the classroom.
No.
And it's stressful for you as well.
Right. Right.
So that
sounds like a good plan.
It might work. It's too bad you don't have more time this year to practice it.
3 more days.
Well, Good luck to you on
Thank
that.
you.
See, let me
It's
know if
worth
that
it.
works.
Okay, I appreciate that.